Recently, many friends came to private message me, asking how to do gel plate image transfers. Thus, I am making a video today. Let me briefly talk about gel plate printing, its basic steps, and its basic principles. The first is, to do gel plate printing, you would need a piece of gel printing plate. Here it is, the main tool for gel printmaking. And you also need a roller, and then some acrylic paint. Well, I have a lot of paint, all kinds of paint. Then each paint has its own characteristics. Well, if you have just started playing with gel printing, I strongly recommend starting with acrylic paint first. For beginners, acrylic paint will give you a much higher success rate, and it gives you more creative possibilities. Also, when you do gel transfer, you need something that's laser printed. Some images printed on gloss-coated paper. Magazines can also do. Magazine transfers work great as well. Well, the pictures in these magazines can be transferred. Black and white, high contrast, is better for image transferring. But images like these are harder to transfer, because the color palette is too busy, and the tonal range is too complex. If the contrast of the image is not very strong, it is much more difficult to transfer. These are the best ones with black and white text like this. The transfer results are usually very good. Feel free to go home and try it out. Today, I will mainly talk about the foundational steps. And it works like this. When you apply acrylic paint, by rolling it on the gel plate, it forms a thin layer of that acrylic paint. Then when you put this transfer sheet on it, the acrylic paint on this layer will be sandwiched in between this sheet and the gel plate. And then, when the thin layer of acrylic paint come across a print like this, where this black powder covered places on this paper, the paint will not stick to the powder, thus remain on the gel plate. While these white parts, the acrylic paint will stick to the paper and leave the gel plate. So, that's why you can transfer this image to this gel plate. So, that's how it works. We can summarize. When paint meets dark area, it stays on the plate. When it meets the light-colored area, it gets taken away from the gel plate. There's another thing that we need to pay attention to. Acrylic paint dries fast. Once you spread the paint onto this gel plate, be sure to place the image you are transferring quick, because once the paint dries, it won't work. It can't be transferred anymore. So in the beginning, it's crucial that we apply the right amount of black acrylic paint. Gently apply it on the gel plate. Then bring the roller over and roll it evenly. Speed matters, gotta go quick, but not too fast and too heavy. Just make sure achieve the right thickness and evenness in the shortest time possible. Roll evenly. Put our transfer sheet on before the paint dries. And then, use a roller to push the air bubbles out. Make sure the entire surface gets evenly pressed. Roll back and forth several times. Or leave it for 7 or 8 seconds. Then, slowly uncover. See. The entire image is then transferred to this gel plate. This is the original picture. The white area pulled the paint away, while the dark areas didn't. Okay, and then what I found what a lot of people do is, after this step, they would directly press this transferred picture onto the paper to transfer. This is something I would want to emphasize. It doesn't matter if you are transferring from a transfer sheet to the gel plate, or transfer from gel plate to paper. Make sure the paint is wet. The transfers can only be successful with wet acrylic paint. Once the paint is dried, you won't be able to transfer. Then because of this paint I used, dries pretty fast. So I waited until it was fully dry. I'll do the transfer once it's completely dry. I'll dry it with a hairdryer first. Okay, that's about it. Touch it with your finger. Nicely dried. After drying, it will definitely not be able to transfer to paper. So what's the next step? That is, we put another layer of paint on it. Acrylic paint. Cover the whole artwork with a layer of wet paint as background color. Or, what if I want the background of my artwork to be the paper itself? Then I'll apply a layer of this clear acrylic medium before transferring. Some will definitely ask, this artwork is currently black and white. What should I do if I want to paint on it? In fact, coloring is also simple, because this layer of acrylic paint dried to form a waterproof film. You can now bring the paintbrush. Dip a little acrylic paint. Just paint the color on it. But be very careful when applying, because this film is very thin and fragile. If you paint it with too much force, it can destroy the dried paint. I prefer adding a layer of this clear acrylic medium. Roll evenly on top of our delicate artwork, then dry it with a hairdryer. Once it dries, paint on top. And because we use black for our first layer of image transfer, which is dark and opaque, while you paint and add colors, it won't show even if you paint it on these black lines. Why is that? Because when you print it upside down, these black lines will cover up those colors that are painted on top of it. It is also a feature of gel plate printing, right? It hides the colors that are painted out. The premise is that your first layer must be black. Or, if you want the background color to not be transparent. Or if I don't want to use the color of this paper, you can use any other acrylic paint. Just spread it evenly. After coating evenly, it can also be transferred directly to paper. Well, today, I'm doing transparent. And this is the clear acrylic gel medium. We don't need too much. Be gentle while rolling. Don't roll directly on the plate without gel medium. That will ruin the lines. Roll lightly with roller coated with paint. Spread it evenly across. From my experience, it's better to roll in one direction. Roll it evenly. And then work quick before it dries out. Quickly press it onto the paper. Then, turn it around. You can use this pressing tool, or a roller, to press it evenly. Or you're feeling a little bit lazy? After rolling out the air bubbles, simply put a few heavy books on it. Press and wait for 5 to 15 minutes. Depending on the paint you use, the time it takes to dry fully may vary. Sometimes it takes longer, sometimes shorter. Usually the waiting time is around 1 to 20 minutes. It can be greatly different depending on the paint you use. It's time for the most exciting moment. The transfer should be successful. Time to reveal. Perfect. This paint has the highest success rate out of all paints I tried in the market, which I've tried many brands already. This is the paint that's giving me almost 100% success rate in image transferring, which is also the paint I used for demonstration today. This paint, I would strongly recommend. Try out my method. Once you become familiar with your tools, this effect can also be achieved. I can't say 100%. Definitely over 80% chance of achieving this effect. Okay, that's it for today. Please follow me, smiley face.